The NFLPA, the NFL Players Association, released their survey. Now, obviously, these are anonymous grades, but we all know the players that are on the team. They send out the Players Association sends out a survey to talk about an ownership's grades for many different functions and many different facets of an organization. They do everything from how is the diet and nutrition, how is the food in the cafeteria, how is the weight room, how does an ownership treat families, how does an ownership group treat travel, and then they asked a little bit about the coaches. So in general, before we get to the part that I really want to get to, is in general, I believe the Chicago Bears were 14th out of 32 in the NFL overall, which, look, is right there in the middle, right at mediocre. Are you comfortable yet? The water's warm, Bears fans. Hop in. We're right there in the middle as mediocre. A couple little surprises, right? I mean, ownership in general, and I think that's more has to do with how ownership treats its players, were very high grades. For the most part, dealing with family, got pretty good grades. Post-game family activities and taking care of families got a little bit of a lower grade, but daycare for the Chicago Bears did really well. The food was kind of more in the middle, something that they may look to improve upon. And when you have a new head coach like Ben Johnson, that is something that they can put their fingerprints on and improve upon. And then, of course, the training room, the weight room, the locker room, all things that were renovated over the last couple of years, so they're brand spanking new, got A's, A-minuses across the board for the Chicago Bears. You want to know what the lowest grade was? Head coach. I got to tell you, this is probably one of the more, and I hate the victory lap on this, and I hate to laugh with glee, but let's be honest, the dude is getting paid by the Chicago Bears this year, I believe $5 or $6 million to do nothing, while also go off and coach in Dallas as a defensive coordinator. So the dude is doing fine and employed. But it is a bit of a victory lap for me personally, that I didn't like Matt Eberflus from the jump, and yet somehow the ghost of Matt Eberflus continues to somehow matriculate and haunt the Chicago Bears during this offseason. The NFLPA, the Chicago Bears, the grade that they gave Matt Eberflus, I believe ranked 31 out of 32 in the NFL, at the dead bottom. And the quote from the NFLPA's report read, quote, "The players' most frequent complaint was with their former head coach, Matt Eberflus. Quote, the players felt like he lacked a willingness to listen to the players and Players Leadership Council, and he mismanaged the weekly team schedule." So this is funny. This is a funny synergy and a funny alignment where Chicago Bears fans and Chicago Bears players are in resounding 100% agreement. We don't get this very often, so we have to appreciate it. So maybe Matt Eberflus deserves a thank you. But it is very interesting to see how poorly mismanaged that hire was and how poorly mismanaged his tenure was as a Chicago Bears head coach. And it wasn't just some bad luck here and there. I mean, the dude blew leads on the regular, didn't know how to handle his timeouts, was very poor in press conferences and post-game press conferences about delivering at least a direct, clear message about what happened in the game prior, other than some particular buzzwords like execution. He used that word all the time. And clearly his message fell on deaf ears with the Chicago Bears. And let's be honest, this all could not have just happened within the last year. It wasn't that all of a sudden he was no longer willing to listen to the players and he mismanaged the weekly team schedule. This seems like this had been brewing for quite some time. And Matt Eberflus is long gone. So all we can do now is that I think some of this light has to also shine on Ryan Poles. Sure, it's one thing to hire the wrong person or draft the wrong guy, sign the wrong free agent. Those things will happen. And trust me, Ryan Poles has done all of those and has done a healthy amount of them. I think one of the more glaring things that that makes me a little bit scared about Ryan Poles, even with Ben Johnson in tow, and look, we got our crowns on. We're the off-season kings right now. We're absolutely crushing this off-season. Ben Johnson is absolutely electric at the podium talking, and he's slowly. I am a iceberg of criticism and skepticism for Ben Johnson. I'm slowly getting thought on him a little bit, but again, there still is Ryan Poles in the room making these decisions. This is the same Ryan Poles who not only hired Matt Eberflus, that's one thing, but didn't fire him last year when I think everybody knew that he wasn't the right guy, and then brought him back for Caleb Williams' rookie season. Now, whether you're in on him or not in on him is irrelevant. What is factual and truthful is that he was the number one pick in the draft, so you felt good enough that this guy was going to be the next franchise guy, and then you subjected him to Matt Eberflus for a full year. And then you let Matt Eberflus, or maybe you did it yourself, hire a guy like Shane Waldron. And there's a judgment of character, there's a judgment of skill and talent in those particular areas that, again, when you see this NFLPA report come out, and Matt Eberflus ranks almost dead last in the NFL, and the players themselves rip apart their former head coach like this, how does the general manager not know? And if he does know, how does the general manager not do anything about it? So I get it. There's still a bit of an exhuming of this corpse that is the Chicago Bears season of last year, a season where they lost 10 in a row. And now heading into an offseason where they do have a new head coach. They raised their ticket prices by 10%. Good call on that one. Sarcasm. And then this report comes out kind of confirming everything that we knew and everything that a lot of Bears fans, including myself, have been saying for a long time, that Matt Eberflus not only isn't the guy, but could be doing irreparable damage to certain areas of the football team that you can't come back from. Now, that was my fear. I can't confirm that that's what's going to happen. But we all know now that it's the same story that we've had in Chicago for many years. And eventually it's a topic that's going to come up, so I'm throwing it at you now so that when you hear it from somebody else or some other media talking head, you'll at least remember and hopefully go, Joey Christopoulos in Sports Talk Chicago and WLS AM 890 said it first, is we're going to have to start making excuses for Caleb Williams' rookie season and almost turn it into a wash year. And you will hear at some point someone say something along the lines of, well, this is basically now Caleb Williams' rookie year with Ben Johnson. And that is no one's fault but Ryan Poles and the Chicago Bears. Because, again, these seasons are sacred, and they literally just burned through 1 year of a rookie contract for Caleb Williams. If you think Caleb Williams is going to be a Pro Bowl player and your franchise quarterback for the next handful of years, you have to try and maximize that rookie contract before you start paying the dude $50 million plus a year. Chicago Bears took one of those years, lit it on fire, threw it out the window, and watched it burn behind them in the rearview mirror. And now, or at least they're going to start giving these excuses of, well, I mean, this happened last year. He was subjected to Shane Waldron, all the bumps in the road on the roller coaster. But it really is something watching this NFLPA report card come out for Matt Eberflus and confirms everything that Chicago Bears fans suspected and were dreading about the situation that they had with their football team last year. He's not there anymore. But again, it speaks a little bit to a guy who still is their general manager, Ryan Poles.